Hi there CRV owners. Today in your 2019 Honda CRV, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install EcoHitch's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. Our cross tube is going to be hidden completely behind the bumper, so we're only going to see the receiver tube sticking out the back here. We've got the Torklift logo on the back, so whenever anybody looks at your receiver, they'll see that you are responsible and have installed a hitch made of recycled materials. It's a Class 3 2-inch by 2-inch receiver, so it's going to be great for all of your towing needs. Whether you're going to be putting a cargo carrier in it and loading it up, or a bike rack loaded up with 4 bikes. It uses a 1/2-inch hitch pin and clip. Now, one doesn't come included with the hitch, but you can pick one up here at etrailer.com. It features plate-style safety chain loops that are going to be vertical towards the back. They've got a decent size opening that should accommodate most safety chains. Now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on accessories. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, it measures about 2.5 inches. This is important when determining if any of your folding accessories can be placed in the upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube, it measures about 15 inches. And this is important when determining if you need a drop, rise, or raise shank on any of your accessories. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's go over the installation together so you can have the confidence to do it at home. We'll begin our installation underneath the vehicle by lowering down the exhaust. Before we do so, we want to make sure we put a strap in place to support the exhaust so it doesn't come down too far and cause any damage. We'll then need to remove the rubber isolators. You'll have one at the rear of the vehicle on each side. We're going to spray the rubber hanger with some lubricant to make it slip off a little easier, and then we'll just use a pry bar to slide the rubber off. We'll then do the same thing on the other side. We'll then come forward some and you'll find another isolator just about at the same distance where your axle is, but it's going to be slightly on the passenger side. We're going to pry that one off too. We'll now fish wire our hardware in. We'll use the coiled wire that comes in our kit, and it's going to go into these 2 holes here, and we're going to feed that in through this large hole. So we'll take our coiled wire. We're going to start with the furthest from our access hole, go in, push it towards the access hole, come back out the access hole, and then we'll take our hardware and put it in place. We'll start by sliding on a spacer block, then a star washer, and then we'll thread our bolt onto the coil. And then feed those up into the access hole. And then we're going to bring them back down through the hole. We're then going to repeat that using the same procedure from this hole, and then do the same thing on the opposite side. We now need to trim out a section here at the back. We also trim out a small section from our undershield. Now this is optional. As far as trimming this out, it does mention in there it'll ease installation, but looking at it here, it's going to make a big difference on how easy the installation is, so I definitely recommend it because it's just a small amount of trimming. To make it easier to trim, we're going to pull the panel down. So there's 3 pins located here we're going to take out, and there is another pin a little bit further towards the front. Those pop out by first popping out the center section using a flat-bladed screwdriver or trim panel tool. So just push that between the 2 pieces there, and then you can pop that down. Once you've got the center section popped down, you can just pull the pin out. We can now cut out our fascia. I've gone ahead and marked it out here. You'll want to refer to your instructions for the exact measurements on how to cut it out. And then we're just going to use a rotary disc here to cut that out. And now we can go back and clean up our edges here with either a razor knife or a file. Now, if you've been following along with your instructions, you're probably wondering, well, when are we taking the fascia off? Well, I found that we don't even need to take the fascia off like the instructions describe. There's a small tab right here, and we will need to trim this off in addition to the hole that we cut out there. And after trimming that off, really, if you get yourself an extra set of hands, we're going to lift the hitch up and we'll show you how, but you can just gently pull out and we can fit our hitch up in there without having to remove the entire fascia. Now with an extra set of hands, we're lifting our hitch up over the exhaust, and then we're going to pull out on the fascia and gently get our hitch worked behind it. Line up the holes in your hitch with the bolts in the bottom of the frame, being careful not to push those back up into the frame. And then at the center of the hitch, we're going to slide our large bolt through our hitch, the tow hook, and then out through the hitch again, and this will hold our hitch up in place so we don't have to spend all that effort keeping it up there. On the other side, we'll place a washer followed by a lock washer, and then the large nut that comes in your kit. Then we can move back to our side hardware that we fish wired down through the frame. For this, we're going to slide on a washer followed by a lock washer, and then we're going to thread on a nut. We're going to repeat that for the other bolt on this side and the two other bolts on the other side. We can now go back and tighten down all of our hardware. We're going to use a 19mm socket for our side bolts. And then we'll tighten our center bolt using a 15/16 socket and wrench. We can then go back and torque our hardware to the specifications found in our instructions. We can now put our exhaust back up. You can use a little bit of spray lube on your hangers to help you get it slid back in. Once you've got your exhaust back in place, we can put the pins that we removed back into the lower of our fascia here. And then we can remove our strap that was securing our exhaust up. We're now ready to load in your favorite accessory into your hitch and hit the road. And that completes our installation on EcoHitch's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver on our 2019 Honda CR-V.